Yeah, no worries. So we will have the students, screen share their script just so the audience can also follow along with what you're saying as you read what you're writing. So it's not as confusing. And also to show what you've written, right? So you want to be able to show the audience what you've written. And yeah, each speech should not be that long, probably around 5 minutes. And we'll get started. If you want, you can turn on your camera for the whole time. Speakers, please make sure your camera is turned on if you can, so that we can see your face and the screen and your script while you're presenting. We'll get started. Is there anyone who wants to? We can just call on people. If someone wants to volunteer, feel free. Anyone? Okay, I will just do. There's 7 people, right? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I'm gonna random number generator.
Okay, that's what I thought you were gonna do. All right.
All right, so 5. I'm gonna go down the list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's Audrey. All right, Audrey, are you okay with going first? Are you here?
I'm here.
All right, Audrey, I think you'll be pretty good. You'll be prepared. Audrey, would you mind turning on your camera? And you can also pull up your script and share your script with everyone. Perfect.
So should I just start?
Oh yeah, I see your script. All right, yeah. Honestly, you can start whenever you're ready. I will mute, but
My friends with eating disorders would always come up to me and rant about how terribly misunderstood they were when telling other people about their eating disorders. I've heard many wild assumptions and misdirected pity from others. So as someone who has many friends who do suffer day to day from eating disorders, I feel the need to redeliver this speech so that I can inform and hopefully clear up any possible misconceptions that you, the general public, may have on eating disorders. Of course, this is in no way suggesting that I know everything there is to know about eating disorders, but I do believe that I hold enough knowledge to present this speech to you in a professional manner. So today, I'll be delivering a TED Talk by Anis Baj titled, Why Are Eating Disorders So Hard to Treat? Globally, around 10% of people will experience an eating disorder during their lifetime, and yet eating disorders are profoundly misunderstood. Misconceptions about everything from symptoms to treatment make it difficult to navigate an eating disorder or support someone you love as they do. So let's walk through what is and isn't true about eating disorders. First, what is an eating disorder? Eating disorders are a range of psychiatric conditions characterized by these main patterns of behavior: restricting food intake, binging or rapidly consuming large amounts of food, and purging or eliminating calories through vomiting, laxatives, excessive exercise, and other harmful means. An eating disorder can involve any one or any combination of these behaviors. For example, people living with anorexia usually restrict the amount of food they eat, while bulimia nervosa is an eating disorder characterized by recurrent binges and purges. Importantly, these behaviors determine whether someone has an eating disorder. You can tell whether someone has an eating disorder. You cannot tell whether someone has an eating disorder from their weight alone. People who weigh what medical professionals might consider a healthy range can have eating disorders, including severe ones that damage their long-term health in invisible ways, including osteoporosis, anemia, and heart damage and kidney damage. Just as we can't tell whether someone has an eating disorder based on their weight alone, we can't get rid of these disorders simply by eating differently. That's because eating disorders are, at their core, psychiatric illnesses. From what we understand, they involve a disruption to someone's self-perception. Most people who experience them are severely critical of themselves and report many self-perceived flaws. They may use eating to try and regain some control over an internal sense of chaos. We still don't know what exactly causes eating disorders. There's likely isn't a single factor, but a combination of genetic and environmental risk factors that contribute. Sometimes other mental illnesses like depression or anxiety can cause symptoms of eating disorders. In addition, certain psychological factors such as perfectionism and body image dissatisfaction are risk factors for eating disorders. Several social factors contribute too, including internalized weight stigma, exposure to bullying, racial and ethnic assimilation, and limited social networks. Although there is a common misconception that only women can experience eating disorders, people of all genders can be affected. As these disorders intimately affect the development of one's identity and self-esteem, people are particularly vulnerable to developing them during adolescence. Although these are among the most challenging psychiatric disorders to treat, effective therapies and interventions exist, and many people who receive treatment make a full recovery. Treatment has a higher chance of success the earlier it starts after someone develops disordered eating behaviors. But unfortunately, less than half of people with an eating disorder will seek and receive treatment. Because of the complex effects of eating disorders on both the body and the mind, treatment usually includes a combination of nutritional counseling and monitoring, psychotherapy, and in some cases, medications. Evidence-based psychotherapies exist as treatments for eating disorders, including cognitive behavioral therapy and family-based therapy. These are talk therapies that help people gain the skills to deal with underlying psychological problems that drive eating disorder symptoms. Because not all patients will respond to these treatments, researchers are also investigating treatments outside of psychotherapy, such as transcranial magnetic stimulation. Proper treatment can reduce the chances of dying from a severe eating disorder. Eating disorders can provoke a powerful sense of powerlessness, but education for individuals, families, and communities helps erode the stigma and improve access to treatment.
Well done, Audrey. Everyone, round of applause for Audrey. Great stuff. All right. So at the end of each speech, I believe Anderson and I will give some feedback on the speech. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So, and I'll also give you some context. So Audrey has been working on the speech. She delivered an oratorical declamation speech, which is basically delivering someone else's speech that has already been published and delivering it like it's her own, performing it like it's her own. And she delivered a TED speech about eating disorders because it's something that she really cares about. And she worked on this throughout the whole time. And as you can see, she is a very strong speaker, which is great. I think you worked on a lot of what we talked about, pacing, as well as adding some emotion into your speaking, which are two of the things that we wanted Audrey to focus on in her speech. So, yeah, very well done. Anderson, anything to add?
Yeah, so as a oratory declamation, basically, while technically speaking, you are taking someone else's work and then, kind of speaking it out and then stating it out in your own kind of personality, in your own way. That's what really made this speech special, right? And I think the matter-of-fact kind of tone and kind of the informative tone that Audrey provided really helped, not to mention how it was pretty clear and concise, and their own insight into this with their own, personal experiences, and their own friends' personal experiences. That kind of stuff really kind of layers on how important this is as a speech to her, and also how important it is in general to the public. And that's really what I like most about that speech.
Exactly. All right. Great job, Audrey. Now, next we will, again, if anyone would like to volunteer after that, just unmute, let me know. Otherwise, I will randomly pick again. All right, let's go. Ooh, it looks like number one, which I believe is Alicia. All right, Alicia, are you ready to go? If you are.
Amber actually said in the chat that they wanted to go, if no one else wanted to.
Oh, Amber said? Okay.
I think then we can have Amber go then.
Oh, yeah. Alicia, we can have you wait a bit if that's fine with you. And then we'll have Amber go right now after. Yeah, Amber, if you're ready to go, you can turn on your camera. Whatever else you have. And then Amber did join us actually pretty late, but I believe she does have some speaking experience. So let's see. And then Amber, are you able to turn on your camera?
Yeah. Can you see me?
Yep, we can.
Hmm.
Cool,
Okay.
cool. All right, and you can start whenever. I'll.
Okay. All right. First, I want to take a quick survey in this meeting just to see how many people know what it's made of. What do you all think body wash is made of? Answer in chat or by unmuting. Okay, you can think about it. You have synthetic surfactants. You sometimes have oils, natural oils. You have some water. You have some chemicals that seem friendly to the skin for moisturizing. But in truth, there are a lot of soaps that contain lots of small pieces of plastic in them. In fact, even though it's illegal, some of your shower suds are made with 90% plastic. Even toothpaste has plastic in it. Plastic pollution is a gigantic problem, and no, it is not just a giant conspiracy theory. If you do not believe me, look anywhere on the internet. Search on Google, is climate change happening? Search on Bing, search on Firefox, Microsoft, DuckDuckGo, or say you can look in your own yard. Everywhere, pollution is happening. It is affecting our planet in unimaginable ways. Scientists think that by 2050, the amount of fish in the ocean will be smaller than that of plastic. 1 in 4 people don't even have access to clean water to drink, and 35% don't have enough for sanitary purposes. Much marine life is facing its extinction due to getting caught by plastic fishing nets or mistaking it for food. This is a serious problem being caused by humans, having an effect on humans, and killing our planet at a near unstoppable rate. It's affecting marine life extensively. Fish already face overfishing, which is bad enough by itself. However, fish now face pollution, which can destroy populations of marine life. Plastic can pollute coral, which is at the bottom of the food chain, and can affect the whole ecosystem if they die off. Nets can trap animals and suffocate them. Turtles are especially prone to this, and all animals can mistake plastic for edible food, which can poison them and easily kill them in high enough amounts. And if you somehow don't care about the rest of the world, take into account that the fish that are eating plastic are also being eaten by you. That means that you are consuming plastic just by eating seafood. An article by Science World states that an average human, you, me, anyone in this room, takes in over 6 pounds of plastic a year through eating animals that had consumed plastic during their lives. These plastics can accumulate in your body and make you sick, if not kill you. If that wasn't enough, then put into consideration that 70% of the oxygen that we breathe comes from plants that live in the ocean, which are among the many species that are dying off. Another reason to stop polluting is because destruction of freshwater habitats. This leads to freshwater and land species going extinct at a very alarming rate. 23 known species went extinct in 2021 alone, and those are just the ones we know about. If we include the species that we don't know about, then scientists predict that a unique species will go extinct every 20 minutes. That's 26,280 species per year. Keep that number in your head and understand that it was caused by humans. Many more species may be lost forever because of human activity, and that rate will probably increase in the future if we don't do anything about it. Plastic can also pollute freshwater and reduce the number of freshwater habitats. This is what I just said. You might think we have plenty of water. Why should we worry? Firstly, 99% of Earth's water is unavailable. So we only have 1% left to work with and drink. Also, we don't have enough fresh water to even give enough water to the vast amount of people, let alone animals. Think about it. There are 7.5 billion of us on Mother Earth right now, and each of us humans need 3.2 liters of water per day. Keep in mind that the population will definitely grow much more in the future, and that we also need water to bathe, to wash our hands, to wash dishes, to do all of that stuff. 35% of people don't have the luxury of enough clean water to bathe themselves. 25% don't even have enough to drink. Rivers and lakes are an extremely important source of drinking water, and since these are being polluted, then that means human health is also being polluted by that, and this will have a dragging effect on humanity for years to come. It's not like we can just get water from somewhere else. We can't go to another planet to get water. It is too expensive. We need to protect the little water we have left, because if we don't, then half the humans on Earth will not have enough water to drink by 2025. That's in less than 3 years. If we don't do something by then, well, we don't know exactly what will happen. And a few years of not doing anything, we won't be able to change our future. And sadly, a lot of businesses only care about short-term profits, and they are undoubtedly the main source of plastic. And to make a big change, these businesses need to change. But there is something that you can do, and that's to reduce, reuse, recycle, blah, blah, blah. Anything that will stop that plastic bottle from going into the trash bin. We need to take action now. We can't wait any longer. Waiting is the equivalent of screwing ourselves and dooming the next generations. Trillions and trillions and trillions of people could avoid being born just because we had our addictions to plastic and went extinct because of it. And when a person, imagine waiting to be born in the future, and when a person was asked the question, can you go recycle the Gatorade bottle, or will you cancel someone's life? And they press canceled, how would you feel? We need to do this now. Time is running out fast. If we do something, anything, then maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to fix this catastrophe that we got into. Thank you.
Good job. Well done, Amber, for that speech on plastic pollution. Amber was delivering like an original oratory type speech based off something she wrote in the past. And so the script was really already made. She joined like 2 classes away from the end and was able to put together the speech right away, practice it, and then deliver it for you all today. So great job, Amber. That's actually one of the first times we've heard Amber speak, I believe. And I think from what we hear, it's very solid. And she took in the suggestions I made on the doc, which I don't think were many, and did a great job. So well done, Amber. Anything you want to add, Anderson?
Yeah, I would just kind of like to say that with given such little time and I guess given the fact that this was originally an essay that they had to convert to a speech, and then they had a little bit of time to practice, I think they did a really great job. I think there's a lot of emotion and a lot of, I guess, the usage of like, strong language, and also, how should I say this? How should I put this? Emphasis on the statistics and the danger that we are now in due to plastic pollution and our, lack of action. I think that's very, very meaningful. And I think Amber did a really great job of showing how important that was. And that's even just multiplied by the fact that they didn't have that much time to do all of this. So really, really good job.
All right, exactly. Well done, Amber. And we will go on. So I think, Andrew, did you want to go next? You messaged me.
Yes. Let me.
Yeah, we'll keep taking volunteers, so Andrew, you can go next.
Sure. So let me open my screen. I believe that's already open. And okay, no.
And then also, is your camera able to be turned on?
Is it turned on? I'm not sure.
Okay, now it is.
Yeah, I think it's turned on. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's already turned on.
Oh,
Okay,
wait. It turns off when you close this.
Wait, so is it?
It's on right now.
But when I leave it, it closed, right?
Yeah, you can't really do anything about that.
Well, I'll just do that. Probably some bug in the device. I don't know. I'm trying to fix it. So I just start. So hello everyone. Today what I'm going to talk about is about the metaverse. But before we talk about metaverse, which is a very deep topic, let's talk about a very special company. What they call this Meta Platforms. Well, you probably heard as a new name. So what is that used for? So obviously it's about the metaverse. Because if it's not about the metaverse, this company won't even show up here. Well, let me tell you a formal name of this company called Facebook. The CEO is Mark Zuckerberg, and he changed his name at the start of 2022. So why this is going to happen? Let's see. So why is metaverse? This is going to be a very deep topic to say because now everyone can say their own opinion about metaverse, and I cannot collect all of their opinion. It's obviously impossible. So let's talk about 8 key features that everyone will agree about this. First is identity. We can consider the metaverse as a game or a social media. Everyone could freely create their accounts, just like the Second Life, but in a completely virtual world. Number 2 is to make friends. It's impossible for a social media or a gaming app cannot make friends. Even now, Google Classroom, you can chat with your classmate, and metaverse cannot. That's obviously impossible to do it. So everyone could add other people's friend during their group chats. Number 3 is immersive. You have to contain barrier-free connection between the virtual and real worlds. But this is also critical. The virtual world cannot be too real. That lets some people think that they are living in a virtual world, but they're actually in real worlds. Because you can respond every time in virtual world, but you cannot respond no matter what in real worlds. So this also should be one. Virtual world should be as close as real world as possible, but it cannot be too over, or it will cause some people think, especially the young children think that, hey, I think suicide is not a big problem. Anyway, I can respond. That's obviously we don't want to see. Number 4 is anywhere. It's impossible to take a professional gaming PC with a complete VR setup, go anywhere around the world. So we need to make sure that not just running on like complete setup PC, it could also running on laptop, iPad, or even phones. Let me tell you an example. There's a nice game called Apex Legends, which is a FPS shooting game. It doesn't matter what's inside, but it has a computer version. It's like extremely nice graphic, ray tracing, reality like physics engine. But it also has another version on the phone. It's the phone's version. I also see it a little bit. It's not that good, but the key features are preserved. You can do anything which is exactly the same as you play on PC, but the visuals, the FPS will be way lower than you can play on a laptop. But as long as it could be played, this means it's good. Number 5 is variety. You have freedom beyond real life. Like it's impossible to switch job instantly or switch people instantly, which sounds kind of crazy in real life. But you can do that in metaverse. You can just suddenly jump from Minecraft to Call of Duty, suddenly from Call of Duty and jump to, let me guess, jump to like Snapchat, I guess. And so we have freedom beyond real life. You can switch account, like you can have 2 or 3 Google accounts, like switching them anytime. So you can do multiple jobs at the same time. Number 6 is low friction. It's about the technology part, like 5G, edge computing, and eliminate distortion. Basically, trying to make low connection, make everyone more closer to real life, to make everyone feel better. Number 7 is economy. This is a very important part. Like for example, I have $20 right on my hand, but I can only trade them in real life or in the United States. So there have to be a thing that could change dollars or RMB to their metaverse money, Bitcoin, and ETH are all a great example of the virtual money, but it still kind of need to be approved by government because like money changing is critical about like it's kind of close to illegal if they're trying to do something bad. Number 8 is civilicity. It's basically they're gonna have unlimited development direction. The virtual world is prosperous. For now, no one could directly or any company can now directly say that what metaverse is going to look like. Is it gonna be on phone, iPad, or computer? No one could sure that. For now, what we think about metaverse is only kind of a blank page that everyone could wrote their own word on it. It all could be possible. Now let's talk about movie that I think which is closest to the metaverse is Ready Player Number One. Even though this is an old movie, my parents like took me there when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. But the switching between reality to a better one, like just what it shows, really shocked me. With a single VR setup, you can from a poor boy to strong people in the game, which no one can beat you. So this could be the closest things that what we think as metaverse. But let's not talk about that far. Let's talk about game that we have right now. It's Roblox. Don't judge me at this point because I know it's really suck. It published in 2013 and it has physically full of elementary school students, even though there are some adults in it, but not too many. And their games are really kind of not too good for sure. And their graphic and their CPU usage is really bad on my computer. I don't know why. But anyway, Roblox, I think, is the game that closest to the metaverse going to be in the future. Why? Let's go back to the 8 key features. Identity. Everyone could all freely creating accounts in this game, right? Number 2, friends. Of course, group chats, friend list, like chatting list, it all show up in this game. And also, you can play anywhere, no matter it's on your phone, your iPad, or on your PC. Also, it has variety. It has like all sorts of games that everyone create. And also, if you want to, you can create your own game. Just see if anyone play it. And so basically, let's talk about those things. Let's talk about some about commercial things. Those companies are all the huge player in the technology area, like Amazon, Apple, NVIDIA, Google. After Mark Zuckerberg declared that Meta or Facebook is going to get into the area of metaverse, all of them declare that they are going to create their own metaverse too. It's going to be a huge fight for sure in the future about the metaverse. But for now, it's just a piece of blank paper waiting for us to discover new features, new amazing features that we probably never going to imagine right now. It's going to show up in the future world. And everything could be done in metaverse. And everything is going to be true in metaverse. That's the metaverse, and that's what future is going to be. Thank you for watching.
Good job, Andrew. Thank you very much for that presentation on the metaverse. So obviously, as you guys can tell, Andrew is very knowledgeable about the metaverse technology. It's something he's very passionate about. And so he decided to write up a speech, but turn it into a presentation. Something he wanted to focus more on was delivering more real life speeches, something you might see in a classroom. And so he wanted to use visuals and a slideshow to aid in his speaking. So he didn't have a set script. It was more off the cuff using visuals. And that's something that we all should be learning for school and for other speeches. It's more like impromptu or extemporaneous speaking. And so this is definitely a challenge for him, something he had to practice. And he worked on everything we mentioned. So throughout these weeks, writing it up, getting those visuals, and then working on pronunciation of words that were hard for him, as well as his speaking fluency and his speaking speed as well. So I think he worked on all of that. It's very well done. Anything else to add, Anderson?
Well, I think that the use of the visuals was definitely a really nice touch. coupled by the fact that this was kind of practiced for a practical aspect of speaking delivery. And I think overall the topic was also quite unique. So I've heard a lot about metaverse, but personally I don't know much about it. So I thought this was very, very informative in terms of letting me know the impact of metaverse and how the future might be shaped by it. So big props to Andrew for giving a pretty nice presentation. And I think overall, really solid.
Yep. And that was similar to a national and informative speech because they actually use visuals at the national level. And yeah, it was very informative. Cool. And so keeping up with time, we'll have the next person go next. I believe Alan actually offered to go next. So Alan, if you would like, you can.
Can somebody screenshot for me? I'm on my phone and it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I will pull up your speech. I will screenshot. If you can turn on your camera, that would be perfect. Wait, actually, Anderson, can you do it? I'm on my Mac. It's not.
Sorry, what do you want me to do?
Screen share, Alan speech share. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I think I already have it. I can quickly find it.
And then, Alan, are you able to read it off your own screen, or would you read it off of ours?
Yeah, I can read it off the phone. I just can't screen share.
Okay. Then, like right when Anderson pulls it up, you can start. I don't think.
Give me a second. I'm almost there.
Anderson, I sent it to you, and
I already have it. I'm just pulling up now. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen to see if it's too far out or anything, but there we go.
Yeah.
you can zoom in as well.
Yeah.
Or you can use the dots. All right, Alan, you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. So NFTs, pieces of digital artworks, NFTs were being sold for millions of dollars. And just around a year ago, a single JPEG picture was sold for 69 million. And the NBA is selling Top Shots, which is little moments of basketball, for hundreds and thousands of dollars. But why? Some may ask, can you just copy it and make it your own? Yeah, that's not really, but and why would you buy it if you could just look at it for free? And how does a digital artwork affect the environment and causing climate change? Okay, so first, what is NFT? What does this stand for? NFT actually stands for non-fungible tokens. It essentially means non-replaceable. And each NFT artwork is unique in different ways. In a market, everything is fungible or non-fungible. That means replaceable or non-replaceable. For example, art is not replaceable, which is non-fungible, and money is replaceable, so it's fungible. Now that we have a bit of idea of NFT, let's talk about the use of NFT today. If you mint, so if you buy an NFT, you will get some benefits from the team that's creating the NFT. So for example, the most famous NFT right now, Bored Apes, owner will gain access to exclusive perks, such as private online space, which is basically like the metaverse, and merches. Yeah. However, just recently, it seems like NFT is reaching its rock bottom. With the drop of active NFT wallets of 88% over the past 6 months, and with the sale of NFTs down to 92% since last year, September, reported by the Wall Street Journal. However, could NFT really recover from this? Michael Reeves, owner of a NFT marketplace, said in an interview. She said, in the 80s, the same sort of question arose with video art, but now we are seeing almost all major institutions and major art collectors having video art in their collection. I think we just haven't been to the idea of digital art having the same value. And she believes that NFT, digital arts, will be normalized in the future. And this is just the beginning of digital art. In addition, NFT is just the same as an art piece. The art itself does not have any value, but when the demand is high, demand of the artwork is high, people will start paying for it, bidding for it. And for all NFTs, the utilities will only increase their value. Last year, the internet went crazy over the term NFTs. Everyone was freaking out on the price of one online picture and how a 5-letter tweet was sold for 2.9 million. Hold up. Okay, let's talk about CryptoPunks. One of the first NFT ever created under ERC-721. I'm not gonna really explain it, but it's like the way they trade, I guess. It's like part of a blockchain. And from there, NFT slowly made its way to the mainstream. Well, the term NFT was blowing up. Another new term slowly appeared recently, the meme economy. Okay, and it just created recently, and no, I'm not trolling. This is actually some sort of NFT. Some NFTs are referred to. For example, the Cat meme and Dogecoin. Some of you probably seen it before. Okay, so finally, things are looking fantastic for digital art NFTs. Many at the time thought NFT will become the next big thing, but okay. Ever since the end of 2021, NFT's hype has slowly faded away. So could this be the end of NFT, or could this be a new opportunity of making banks? Another interesting fact, ETH, Ethereum, a platform for trading, consume about 112 TW of electricity per year. I always think we have an idea of how much 1 TW really is. So the US uses about 12.1 TW per day. And remember, this is just one platform. There's like Solana, like a lot more platform. So this type of energy usage greatly affects the world and causing global warming. In conclusion, NFT is just, the future of NFT is questionable due to the amount of energy consumed and active user decreasing. But I believe that this is also where digital art gets popularized. And remember, and hopefully within the next few years, it will be on an actual art show. Thank you.
Great job, Alan. Anderson, you can stop screen sharing. Cool. So Alan, as you can see, was giving an informative speech on NFTs. As you can tell, just like Andrew, he was very knowledgeable about NFTs. And so the structure of these informative speeches are basically talking about the background, the past, the present, and the future. And that's what Alan did, right? He gave us what NFTs were, present day applications, a bit about the past, and also future implications on that energy use. And so Alan worked through all this, wrote it all himself, right? He used all the sources linked at the bottom. It was a very great way for him to practice his researching, his writing, his organization skills, and all of that, which is a huge part of speech and any speech activity, making sure your argument is solid and sound. And that's the first step to a great speech, right? And so we didn't get a lot of time to work with Alan on the actual delivery part, but he did great regardless, working, I believe, internationally, not even in the US. So congrats, well done, Alan. Anything you want to add, Anderson?
Yeah, I mean, I just really want to say that the structure here was really like, it was sound, right? I thought that a lot about it was pretty well written and well organized. And I think that Alan, even though he is an international student and he doesn't actually like on a daily basis speak English, or at least doesn't live in a country which predominantly only speaks English, like the US or Canada, I think he did a really great job of, speaking. And I think that overall, just with the amount of time given and how we actually had pretty little insight over how he was doing, I think he did a pretty solid job, and was able to make a very, very nice speech, and especially on a topic that lots of people don't really know much about. So yeah, pretty impressive. All right. So we've got a couple more people. Oh, no problem. We've got a couple more people left. We just have Iris, Katie, and I think Alicia.
Yes.
So
All right, so we will get to the next person. If no one wants to volunteer, I think we'll just have Alicia go because we had her last time. So Alicia, are you ready to go?
I think I'm ready to go.
Perfect. So Alicia, you can turn on your camera and then share your screen. And we can start whenever you're ready.
My topic is forensic medicine. A professor of medical forensic is lecturing a class of students. He stood on a corpse and addressed the class. To be successful in the field of forensic, you need to do two things. First, you have to be fearless. After speaking, he put his finger into the anus of the corpse, retract them and lick them. Now you have to do it, he told the class. After a few minutes of restless silence, the class did as instructor. Second, the professor continued, you have to be observant. Like, how many of you noticed that I put my middle finger into the man's anus but lick my index finger? Forensic medicine is a job with long history, and here are some information for forensic medicine. The earliest application of forensic science date back to the Greek and the Roman societies. Those civilizations made significant contributions to the field of medicine. Their research on the production, use, and symptoms of toxins made the study of their use in past murders possible. In the 19th century, another forensic specialty emerging, forensic toxicology. Forensic toxicologists provide advice on topics such as intentional poisoning and drug use. It is now easier to learn and get a job because the main tool of forensic medicine has always been the autopsy. For example, in case where a weapon causes a death, forensic medicine can often provide detailed information about the type of weapon used. It is typical involved in case corner blood relationships, mental illness, or death resulting from violence. And autopsy is often used to determine the cause of death, but may also yield important contextual information such as how long the person has been dead, which can help trace the killing. Murder technology use simple such as blood and hair found at crime scenes that can be compared to the genetic makeup of the accused through the technique called DNA fingerprinting. This technique can also be used to identify victims' corpses. The bomb holds a reservoir of information that can be key in forensic investigations. Bones proteins can help determine how long ago a person died, while also revealing how old they were at their time of death. So today we are taking a look at forensic medicine. We go through about the history, even the future. I hope most of you understand everything I said.
Great job, Alicia. Well done. You can stop screen sharing at this time. I just want to say you did an incredible job, especially from the last time we spoke to you. Alicia's English is not first language, but she's been working so hard throughout this entire course, picking an incredibly hard topic, forensics medicine, to try and inform us about this, because this is something she's really passionate about, something she potentially even wants to go into as a field of study, and thinks it's very interesting. And so it was a very difficult topic to, number one, research, inform us about, all in English. And so she worked on writing that entire script herself. We weren't able to help as much as we'd like because she was using a different document type as well, but she handled it all on her own, wrote the entire script herself, used sources, got those links in there, and then practiced it a ton. You see, the last time we checked in, she was having trouble pronouncing certain words, and it was a struggle to pronounce a lot of these complex words, right? But throughout these past 2 days, she worked on it completely on her own, practiced time and time again, and was able to present a very solid speech. And so I'm very proud of you, Alicia, and everything you've done throughout these weeks. And hopefully you can carry this on throughout. Anderson, anything to add?
Yeah, 100%. So one of the biggest things you have to realize is that the speech that she wrote herself, right? So I think that's something that's really important and, like, acknowledge here is that while maybe her speaking wasn't like as smooth as obviously someone who was natively born speaking English, the writing itself just shows how much she understood all of it. Not to mention the sort of like the research that was done is on a very complex subject, and nonetheless you have to deliver that subject to the reader, to the audience in English, but you also have to, as someone who is researching it, understand all of it. And this is all done with sort of the situation that Alicia's been put in. So I think it is really admirable to see just like the sort of, I guess, the understanding that it comes with it. And I think that overall, it is a pretty solid speech. And I think it teaches us a lot of things about forensic medicine. So yeah, thank you, Alicia.
Exactly. And also the introduction, that joke is such a hilarious joke, actually.
Dying.
We were actually,
around.
the first time we read that was so funny. So
Yeah,
adding jokes and humor is something we've taught these students. You might hear more about that in some of these next few speeches. But yeah, great stuff, Alicia. All right, so we have 2 people left. Katie and Iris might go a little bit over time, but that's fine. Who would like to go first? Anyone? Or who doesn't want to go last? Guess.
Like they both don't mind going last. Okay.
Okay, I'll do one quick. All right, so we got, I believe, Katie. So Katie, are you there? And can you turn on your camera?
I can't screen share.
No worries. If you can turn on your camera, we can have Anderson.
Yeah, I can go do that. I'll find it. You did send it to me, right?
Here, I can try and find it.
I think it's shared too.
Is it under the name Winter?
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
Yes.
I got it then. I got it. There we go.
All right. And yeah, Katie, I will mute. You can start whenever, and then Anderson, you can see.
Imagine having to get up early for school or work again, and you see a sheep laying down on the grass enjoying their life, looking at you like they're saying, "Hey, look, it's that loser again, having to get up and work while we can lay here in the sun enjoying our life." Because I'm certain that some Dutch people have that experience. Sadly, I never experienced a sheep laughing at me because my route to school doesn't pass any fields. I lived in the Netherlands for 7 years and I moved to the US a few months ago. There are a lot of differences that I noticed and observed throughout these months. Firstly, the Netherlands has 4 different rankings that you get placed in your last year of elementary. It has differences in how many years of middle school or high school you do. Yes, high school and middle school are together in the Netherlands, but honestly, I never liked the rankings. A lot of my friends from the Netherlands also agree with me. Placing a child that just finished elementary in a ranking that is hard to climb up is too early. In my school back in the Netherlands, we didn't have the same schedule every day. Every day has a different schedule, but the weekly schedule is the same. The schedule usually switches 3 times a school year, and it also depends on your teacher. When a teacher is sick, your class usually get canceled, which caused me to bike in the rain at 8 in the morning and have to come all the way back because my friend called me and told me it was canceled. Free shower, I guess. Oh yes, you don't have school buses in Netherlands. Everyone goes by bike or bus if they live too far away, which ends up in a fight for free spots for bikes. If I start in the second period instead of first, I'll have to squeeze my bike in at any tiny space I can find, which also ends up in everyone's bike laying on the ground by the end of the day. You get 2 breaks per day unless you are lucky enough to have all your afternoon classes canceled and go home during your second break. Every break lasts 30 minutes. But if you decide to buy cafeteria food, you will spend half of the time trying to fight for a spot so you can get food, which ends up in a very limited time to actually eat the food. My school didn't have a queue. It was just whoever squeezed in front first. Blame the short time break. After all, everyone wants to eat their lunch. Back in when I was living in the Netherlands, I got a ticket from a friend for a concert located in Paris. We drove for 3 hours and ended up in Paris easily. If I drive for 3 hours here in the US, I probably didn't even exit Illinois. In the US, you can probably see mountains or hills. Meanwhile, the Netherlands is flat. You could only see hills when you're almost exiting the Netherlands and almost entering Germany. This is because half of the country is actually below sea level. Every child in the Netherlands must learn how to swim and get a diploma for it. Some slides in water parks ask for that diploma. You can still take a ride in them though. Just say yes and they will let you through. Don't tell them I said that. Both America and the Netherlands have their pros and cons. For example, it's easier to hang out with friends in the Netherlands, but the US has more resources like more oh God. Help me. I wrote that down myself, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Varieties of groceries. I would prefer living in the Netherlands, but I would prefer getting education and groceries in the US.
Very nice job, Katie. Anderson, you can describe the show.
Oh yeah, I feel that.
As you can see, another great speech. Now, the reason I'm not introducing a lot of these speeches, like the topics, I think one key thing is we want the students to be introducing their own topics through their introduction. And we targeted a lot at the start of this, the hook, right? We need some hook, some story to draw your reader in, your listener in. And Katie did a perfect job with that short story about sheep in the Netherlands that you can visit or see on your day-to-day visit to school or in your life, unlike in the United States. And so Katie had this great speech comparing the Netherlands and the United States and giving her experiences, teaching us about the Netherlands, which she used to live in, and really allowing us to understand what her life was like, right? And so Katie, you did a fantastic job with that. We didn't get a ton of time to work with Katie on delivery because like scheduling and whatnot, but her speech itself, a ton of great content on the Netherlands and the US, a ton of personal experiences. And the key thing I wanted to note is the humor, right? So much humor throughout the entire thing. And the intro, all throughout, your personality truly shone through during that speech and in your writing. And that's something we always love to see. Like I keep saying, if you're a funny person, add jokes, add stuff like that. And as you can see, Katie did that just well. So congratulations, well done, Katie. Anderson, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, of course. So from what I know, I think that Katie might have been a little nervous going into this, right? Maybe they weren't super secure in their speech writing or in their delivery, but I think overall you did a really great job, right? I like the casual tone. I was never one for a boring, kind of like too informative or too dry speech, and I think you did a really great job adding those jokes, keeping the tone very conversational, right? You're just talking to a friend from the U.S. and telling him about the differences you've seen, between the Netherlands and the US. I think that overall the jokes were pretty phenomenal. I think they were pretty nice to keep the tone lighthearted. I think that the differences you mentioned are not like some dumb differences that are obvious. I think that they're all pretty, something that they're pretty niche, something that people from the US, from other places might not know are different. And I think that overall, I think it's just something it's really nice. It's a good speech. And in a way, it's kind of written more like a comedy special. And in a good way. So I think that overall, good speech. Nice.
Exactly. Right. Well done, Katie. Well done. And lastly, so we don't go too overtime, we have Iris. Iris, last speech. Definitely not the worst. Wait, what is it? Saving the best one. Last but not least.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, we'll see.
Iris,
good.
Turn on your camera if you got one.
Oh, is it not turned on?
No, not on ours.
I think it might. For some reason, people's cameras turn off when they shoot.
I don't know why. It's on now though. Screen share again. If you want me to, I can screen share for you. Okay, I'll screen share for you.
Yeah. But Iris, you can still read off your screen.
Oh, okay.
But Anderson.
All right, there we go.
You can start whenever you're ready.
Why is it that, while casually speaking, the majority of the human population tends to say like instead of for example or for instance? Recent studies show that over the last few decades, the word like has become more and more versatile. When we think of like nowadays, we think that it's often used to fill in awkward gaps between conversations, but this overused word may actually be communicating something much greater. It started in 1850 when it was found that the quantity of verbal expression in Google Books had experienced a decline, while fact-based words had risen in popularity. This pattern then took a rapid reverse as of 1980. According to a paper in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, we are living in a special historical period when it comes to the balance between emotion and reasoning. Take the word deep as an example. What comes to your mind? A bottomless pit, the ocean, or might it be her deep blue eyes? As Old English had originally suggested, deep had been to indicate something having considerable extension downwards. As time passed, the word had begun to take on a more figurative meaning, often used to illustrate mysteriousness, wisdom, or intensity, showing us that through the passage of time, humans have begun to speak less factually and more intuitively. Imagine you just received your final exam scores. You see that you'd gotten all A's and you joyfully go tell your parents. Your father responds with a smile on his face and exclaims, "Terrific." It's terrific, isn't it? But what's the root word of terrific? Terror. Your father is basically saying he's terrified of your good grades. This is another example of how words evolve to have complete opposite meanings. This is because feelings of terror also generate feelings of surprise and suspense that then lead to be associated with feelings of excitement. Some similar common phrases include break a leg or sick. If you were to directly say this to a time traveler from the past, then they would probably think you're cursing them. But nevertheless, speaking off intuition may actually be beneficial in many ways. Firstly, it can help you build stronger relationships with people. When you incorporate emotional reasoning into your conversations, it actually helps to guide your listener to think and share similar feelings. The informality of words such as like may also give comfort to your listener. Informality shows others that you are relaxed and you don't care, making you seem very friendly and laid back. Studies show that words such as soul, sense, hunch, and fear have also become more popular over the last few decades, while the more objective words such as result, technology, unit, fact, and percent have become less popular. In the article, Don't Overanalyze Language by John McWhorter suggests that one reason we use more subjective language now could be due to the tensions arising from neoliberal policies. What McWhorter is suggesting is that the negative effects in our communities may have influenced the way people think and speak. It's like how little kids tend to argue with each other when they disagree, or how people's moods can easily be affected for a long period of time by specific events that had happened in the past. When these reactions are put into words, it is just like directly opening a door and letting others slip in. So maybe the overuse of the word like is not just a way to fill in awkward gaps between conversations. In fact, everyone can probably relate to those moments when you begin fumbling in your words while trying to find sophisticated language to deliver an important topic. Meanwhile, someone across the planet is speaking about the exact same topic as you are, and they're delivering it in casual conversation with the same quality and emotion that you had intended without even realizing it. That is because when we naturally speak about something, we are primed by our environment to reflect emotions into our words. What makes a topic so special aren't those great big words composed of it. It's the way we deliver them, and the best way to deliver is to let the evolution of English naturally guide you in what is known as the post-truth era, where words are now spoken more often with feeling and imagery rather than logic. Its many subjective meanings and characteristics offer more personality, captivating your listeners and giving them the opportunity to connect with you on a deeper level. In another article written by John McWhorter, Sometimes Proper Speech Isn't Correct Speech, he talks about how the elementary teachers in his daughter's school had taught their students to stop using contracted words such as wanna or gonna, while at the same time saying them frequently themselves. He argues, why, then, shouldn't we let contractions play in casual speech, which we engage in much more, using language intuitively, comfortable in the persuasiveness of our informality? This section is mainly based on the idea that contractions also play a big role in the evolution of English, and that speaking well doesn't always mean using formal language. In fact, words such as gonna and wanna don't impede the clarity of your sentences at all, yet they're still highly discouraged at school because they're similarly to the word like, regarded as informal and messy when being used in context. So with the continuation of this post-truth era, we see only more emotional evolution in the use of our words. It's now used not only in everyday conversation, but in movies, songs, and TV shows as well. For example, Regina George's iconic line from Mean Girls, "You're like really pretty," or the song created by Meghan Trainor and John Legend, "Like I'm Gonna Lose You." The future of our English language will only continue to subconsciously evolve based off the environment around us. It seems that the faster it changes, the faster people become against it as well. But the way I see it, the post-truth era will only continue to take over. meaning that people should start coming to accept the fact that as our environments shift, they will also naturally adapt. Perhaps the greatest of our English language aren't those big words like magnanimous or numinal ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, but instead words like.
Well done, Iris. And then Anderson, you can stop screen sharing. All right, so that was an incredible speech by Iris about the English language, the formality of it, and different words, right? The evolution of words. Now, another great topic. I believe this was a topic that was formerly an essay, and then Iris adjusted it, added to it, made it more speech-like. It's a very solid piece of writing, as you can tell, very informative as well. But because it was an essay, we got a lot of time to work with Iris on delivery. And so if you heard Iris at the very start, on like the first day we were working on delivery, she spoke super quickly, very rushed, didn't take a lot of pauses, was pretty quiet, didn't have a lot of dynamic range. But after working on it throughout all of these weeks, I'd say, Iris, you are a very, very, very solid speaker, super great fundamentals. Your pacing is incredible now, right? You're very confident in speaking slowly and emphasizing specific words and sentences, making sure the audience can understand you, pausing at the right times, right? Not being afraid to pause is very key, and delivering this speech in a very confident manner. And we could tell that you practice it. Even the first day, you couldn't pronounce the last word. I cannot even. Whatever the super, super long word. Iris practiced that syllable by syllable and was able to get it down. And so, as you can tell from Iris, from everyone here, practice definitely makes perfect, right? The more you practice speaking, the more you practice what we give you feedback on, the smoother your speaking sounds, the more fluent it sounds. Anderson, anything to add on to Iris' speech?
Yeah, so if I'm going to be totally honest, this is a speech that I expect to see in like a competition. I think that it is a very, very meaningful speech. It's on a really profound subject as well, something that is not something you would find in, like, let's say, just an everyday talk, an everyday conversation, but it is about everyday conversation, going over like the nuances and the development of casual language and how, proper language is now being challenged by these new like words and like the new mindset that, people are speaking in. I think that it's really, really an interesting topic to go over. And I think Iris really took that essay to the next level with this speech element. And I think overall, it's really it's great. I think it's just a really meaningful speech. And I would not be surprised if I saw this win in a competition. I'm just saying that personally, it is actually a really, really good speech. And I don't think we're talking enough about how they managed to nail pneumo ultra microscopic volcanoconiosis. I had to search that up, by the way, just to make sure I got it right. But basically, really great job. I mean, that's that really good speech. I like that one. That was good.
Exactly. And yeah, I 100% agree with Anderson. This topic is very deep. It is something, personally, this is a topic I would even write about in a speech, or I can see other people writing about. This is great. And so everyone has gone now, but I do want to last words before we end this entire camp. Because Anderson brought it up, I agree. No matter where you are around the world, in Illinois, in Canada, it doesn't matter. Speech is something, whether you actually do the activity or just practice and participate at your school in your everyday life, it's something that's going to be with you your entire life. And so the better you get at it from a young age right now, and the more you practice it, especially at a high level, right, you will become way better in the long run. And so it's so great you guys are starting now. If you want to elevate your speaking even more, obviously you have me and Anderson's contacts. You can keep in touch with us throughout your high school careers, throughout any education, but also look and see, especially people who are very confident, who have gained a lot from this experience, who have learned a lot. If there are any speech teams, activities, clubs. It doesn't have to be speech in particular, maybe debate, maybe anything political or newspaper club or anything that allows you to practice your skills, put them to good use. Join those activities, join those clubs, and keep practicing your skills because they will pay off in the long run. And you guys have grown so much. I'm confident in all of you that you can get something out of this activity, the skill, and help guide yourself in your own process of learning and practicing this. And so as we go about finishing this camp, although we're leaving the camp, don't forget everything Anderson and I have taught you all, right? Remember the details, right? Don't be afraid to pause. Don't be afraid to go slow. Add emotion in your speaking, right? Add layers. Also, pronunciation. If English isn't your best language, or if you need to work on pronouncing anything, authors' names, really long words, really complex words, right? Practice them. Break that down. Practice syllable by syllable. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And then also, we talked a lot about structure, right? Throughout all of this, you guys, many of you wrote your own essays, wrote your own speeches in a format that you were just introduced to in this camp, right? And that is incredible. All parents, everyone, please understand, your child or student did incredible amounts of work throughout this, writing an entire speech, practicing it and delivering it. It is not easy. That is what people do for months and months in high school, for years, right, to perfect and get a great speech. And your students did that in just a few weeks, at least put it to the test. And so that process, researching, writing it, formatting it with that structure is something you will also learn, because creating arguments and stuff like that is also key in any speech or activity that you do in high school and beyond. Right? So remember to take all of these skills and run with them as you go about your daily life. I will send out one final email at the end of this to recap everything I'm talking about. And then Anderson, any last words to add?
Yeah, I mean, just one last thing I want to mention is that, they only met with us like 2 times per week, right, at most. The rest of it was their own work. Anything that they did from there on was their own practicing, their own rehearsing, their own editing. While we did have a say in the, the things they should change, maybe practice as well, I think overall, they really were independent on this kind of thing. So our help was there to serve as a foundation for them to build themselves upon, but they had to do the building on their own. So I think that is something that is not to be, what's the word? I guess just overlooked. Is that they did a really great job and they did it on their own. So I mean, like basically on their own, at least from what I can tell. They all did a really great job, and they definitely grown. That's the important thing. They all grew from where they started, and their speaking significantly got significantly better. It was phenomenal. So, I mean, that's really it, right? I know we're pretty over time at this point, but thank you all for staying here and being here and and being patient. But that's all I got to say.
Yep, exactly. And everyone mentioned that they just want to get better at speaking at the start of this. That's their goal. And I think every one of you did. You all have tremendous potential when it comes to speaking. Continue it. Keep on going. And yeah, we'll be here as resources. Just reach out to us if you need us. All right. Thank you all for being here. You are free to go if you like.
If any of the parents or students have any questions, we can stay back a little bit.
Feel free to stick with them. But yeah. Well done, everyone. Once again, congrats, and see you whenever. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Well done. Well done. Thank you all.